is David Stark from WatcherPass.com, your website for movie reviews, interviews, and recommendations. Today I'm going to review Mortal Kombat, and spoiler alert, there will be spoilers. If you don't want to know about the film, you can go check out the review on WatcherPass.com. That's short, digestible, spoiler-free. You can get an idea about the film and some of my thoughts there. This is going to go into spoilers because I'm going to talk a little bit about the story and some of the things I didn't love about the film and a lot of things I liked. I mean, the film it's a recent reboot of, I guess, probably the 90s film, if you want to go chronologically, which was based on the 90s video game Mortal Kombat. If you know about video games, you know Mortal Kombat. If you don't know about video games, you probably also know about Mortal Kombat. It's a pretty storied franchise. This film kind of rewrites everything, restarts the whole series, and it's a good video game film. It's even a good film, in a lot of respects. There are some issues I have with the story, but overall it's entertaining. It provides an excuse for all these people to fight, all these, Earth heroes and otherworld heroes to fight. And it gives you enough of an excuse to have these warriors face off in Mortal Kombat. In the film, you have kind of the standard plot from the video game. You have Earth versus Outworld. There's been a tournament. I guess Earth has lost 9 times in a row. And I guess if you lose 10, then Tsung, who is the leader of the Outworld, or at least is the main figure in the Outworld, takes over Earth, does something to Earth. I don't really remember exactly, but it's bad for Earth. And we don't want that because we like Earth as a place to live. So in Mortal Kombat, the fighters are chosen by having some sort of like dragon tattoo. It's the Mortal Kombat dragon, and it's a birthmark on them that shows that they are the chosen fighters. And you have to have that special tattoo if you want to fight in the tournament. It's kind of random who gets it. Some of it is a little bit Highlander-esque, where if you kill a fighter that has it, then you get the tattoo. So it's like there can be only one. And the tattoo has a lot of special things other than you get to fight for your life. You also unlock some cool superpowers, which was an interesting device. I kind of liked this. I liked the idea of it because it allowed these humans to then have the superhuman powers that you see in the game. In the game, it doesn't really explain why Liu Kang can throw fireballs or Sonya Blade can shoot, ring things. But in this film, it says, well, if you've got the tattoo, you unlock a special power, which is interesting. It was a nice vehicle. It kind of has a hero-esque type of situation where you unlock it if you're under some sort of emotional distress or some sort of pain or in an extreme situation. It's kind of like Heroes. It's kind of like X-Men. You don't just instantly get your power. You have to kind of earn it, and that is where a lot of this film happens. The fighters kind of assemble and get ready for the tournament, and they have to unlock their power. And so you're learning about the tournament, and then you're learning about their training to then fight in the tournament, which was fine. It was a little longer than I wanted it to be. I kind of felt like the start of this film was very long because you had the whole build up to the training, and then the training itself, and then the fight sequences towards the end. So it made the film a little front heavy, which I'm usually okay with. But this film just didn't seem to move it along as fast as I wanted to. But the film is a video game film, and fans of the franchise will have plenty to like. You have a ton of characters. You have way more characters than I thought you would have in the first movie in a franchise. And it's not just your main standard characters from Mortal Kombat 1. I mean, you have them. They're mostly all in there. But then you have some more obscure characters, some of the characters from the later games, which I liked seeing. It was nice because I was actually Googling as I was watching, because I didn't play some later games. So I was like, oh, is that person in there? Or they make it? No, that person was in the game. It was in a later one. So it was a nice, surprise that they kind of kept the source material that way. Except for they added a new character, Cole Young, who is a brand new fighter. If you haven't heard of him, don't worry. He's brand new. His shtick is he kind of gets beat up a lot. He's a hero that used to be good, or a good fighter, and then he is past his prime and losing a lot. So not exactly the most exciting main character, but it kind of has it has a story vehicle later. So you have all these heroes, and villains. There are a lot of Outworld fighters too. You also have some really good special effects. I mean, the film does a really good job. Most of the special effects look pretty organic. You know, you've got Sub-Zero's freezing, you've got Scorpion's spear, you've got some of the other superpowers. They're really well done. There's some really cool scenes. If you've seen the trailer, you've seen the shotgun. You know, Jax fires a shotgun at Scorpion and it freezes the bullets as they're coming towards him. It's a really cool scene, and the film has really good effects. There's only a few fights where, you know, it looks like you're fighting a pure CG monster, and those are annoying, but you know, what can you do? You've got Goro, who's like a 9-foot four-armed creature. You can't really have someone in prosthetics doing that. So I understand. It makes those fights less exciting, but it is what it is. And you have the you know, some really good Mortal Kombat remixed music. You know, you've got the standard kind of Mortal Kombat song that's kind of remixed for the film. You've got some of the other beats that were from the 90s. It's a nice touch. I really liked that aspect as well. And you have a lot of references to the film. Like, even if the characters aren't there, you have references to other characters. You have some prominently placed props that fans of the series will recognize. I do a good job of doing fan service. The area where I didn't love the film is the story had some strange beats that I guess were taken to, you know, turn this into a movie. Liberties have to be taken. I understand that. But you know, the first thing is, in this film, uh, Cole Young is a descendant of Scorpion, who is the good guy in this film, who was killed by Sub-Zero, who is the bad guy in this film. I didn't love that. Sub-Zero is one of my favorite characters, and you know, I heart Sub-Zero forever. He's my main fighter in Mortal Kombat, and I didn't like him being a bad guy because he's a good guy, generally. And Scorpion's usually the bad guy, but that's fine. You know, they were able to kind of explain it, and it did lead to some really cool Sub-Zero ice effects that you know, were really exciting to see, and led to some very bloody uses of ice. So that was kind of cool to see. But I didn't love that Sub-Zero was the bad guy, Eternal Ninja, and Scorpion was the good guy who also was in hell because he's tormented, I guess. It's fine. So Cole Young is the direct descendant of Scorpion. The other thing I didn't really love is that Cole Young he's not that interesting of a character. I mean, he's fine, but he kind of gets beaten up a lot. His whole shtick is he loses fights, and then when he finally unlocks his superpower, it is just the ability to kind of absorb punches. So he kind of takes that getting beat up and personifies it into a superpower. And yeah, he can do some cool stuff because he kind of absorbs that energy and then uses it to kill people. But it was kind of a lame superpower. Maybe it'll be cooler in the next movie. There will, spoilers, there will be a next movie. They kind of leave it as a, you know, a introduction into the next film. And the last thing I didn't love was that there's a lot of build up to the tournament. And then they don't really have the tournament, because what happens is, while they're training, Shang Tsung and his army of fighters attack the Earth fighters, and they have this long fight where basically all the Earth fighters get beaten up but not killed, but they basically all just get beaten up. And it's a long drawn out fight, and then it does allow them to unlock their powers, and then basically they're like, so now we're all going to fight them again with our powers and easily handle each of the fighters. The story tries to make it like, okay, well, we're going to fight them one-on-one, but that's what they were doing in the first fight, and they all got their asses handed to them. But now apparently they're able to easily handle almost all of the, you know, the other Outworld fighters. So you have two big fight sequences that play out, and then after that you have the remaining Earth fighters. And I was like, okay, now we're gonna have the big fight. They're gonna fight Shang Tsung. He's gonna use his like cool shape-shifting powers. He's gonna use his fireballs. It's gonna be this really epic final showdown. And then the movie ended. I guess, you know, Shang Tsung went back to regroup. They didn't actually fight him, and the movie ended, and they start preparing for the next tournament, which was a little bit of a letdown because I wanted that climactic fight. I guess he kind of had it in the final fight between Sub-Zero and then Scorpion and Cole Young, but it wasn't as impactful as I was expecting it to be. And then, you know, I wanted that final fight with all the characters all attacking Shang Tsung. Maybe that's me. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I expected too much. But that just kind of made the movie feel like a little bit of a letdown. That being said, if you like the series, there's plenty to like about this movie. I mean, you've got so many characters. They're interwoven into the film, into the story. You've got references. I'm sure bigger fans will catch more. I caught like Katana's fan was in there, which I was excited because Katana's another one of my favorite characters. She's not in the film, but there was things like that. There's a reference to Master Bo Cho, who is another kind of fan favorite fighter. He's not in the film. Maybe he'll be in the next one. So there's a lot to like about this movie. It's just the story kind of let me down. It felt like a little bit longer of a film than I think it needed to be. But, it's a video game movie, and they usually aren't very good. And this was actually pretty good. So if you're a fan of the series, you should watch this film because you're going to love it. It's got everything you want. If you're not a fan of the series, it's streaming on HBO Max. Watch it anyways. It's a fun action movie. It's not great, and it feels a little long, but it has a lot going for it, and it's worth just sitting down and enjoying it. On my site, I gave it a rent because I think it is still a fine film. It's just nothing that you have to like rush out and see immediately. Are interested in this, I would check it out. It's on HBO Max for about a month. It'll leave, I think, 30 days from today, so that's probably May 23rd. So you should check it out then. I don't. If you see it in theaters, that might be fun too, because you might be around a bunch of Mortal Kombat fans who will cheer at all the references. That's one of the things I kind of miss about going to the theaters, is you've got often a lot of fans around you that'll have a shared experience. If you're comfortable going to the theaters, that might be fun. If not, you can watch it on HBO Max for a month. So that's Mortal Kombat. In my last video review, I did a dramatic ending for the movie. This one, I guess an alternate ending would be everyone comes back after Sub-Zero is dead because he's the bad guy. And I really don't like that. I really wanted Sub-Zero to be the good guy, but it's fine. He's dead. And then Scorpion's not there. Scorpion probably should have come help, but he's not there either. But you've got, let's see, Cole Young, Sonya Blade, Jax, Liu Kang. I think that's it. I think those are all the ones. Oh, and Raiden, but he can't fight. So they all come back. And then they go to Shang Tsung and say, your reign as your terrorizing of Earth is over. We are here to end it. And then Shang Tsung probably says something like, oh, this is just the beginning. Ha 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 ha. And then he starts to shapeshift into all the characters, and they all start fighting. And there's this really epic fight where a bunch of people probably die. A bunch of people probably live. It'll last for a while. Maybe he transports them through various realms, and Raiden helps, because then you could go to the various stages, which the film did have. It had a lot of fights in classic Mortal Kombat stages, and it had a lot of really good callback fatalities. That's what I forgot to mention earlier. There's a lot that you'll love about this film if you're a fan. But then they would have this long fight, and they would beat him down, and then just before they're about to beat him, then whoosh, Shao Kahn comes in, rescues Shang Tsung, says this isn't over, and then he goes back to the Outworld. And then they say something like, well, I guess we have to prepare for the next one. Boom, credits. There you go. That's how I would have ended the film. But again, I'm just an amateur. I do this for fun. There's a lot of people that spend a lot of time and effort and energy on this film that made it. So maybe their vision's better. They clearly have some sort of progression in mind, because there's definitely going to be a sequel. It's left as a sequel. So there you go. That's Mortal Kombat. Oh, and also there's no stinger, so don't wait around through the credits. The credits have some fun, blood effects and scenes from the film, but there's no stinger. So once those are done and the regular credits start to roll, you can turn off your TV or leave the theater. But that's Mortal Kombat. If you liked this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot and makes sure all my new interviews go straight to you. And as always, please go to watcherpass.com for all your movie reviews and recommendations. Thank you.